There are three books in the Bible known as wisdom literature: Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job. The first book, Proverbs, teaches us that God is wise and just. It says that the world is ordered fairly. Good people are rewarded, and bad people are punished. In simple terms, you get what you deserve. But then we read Ecclesiastes, and things get more complicated. Ecclesiastes says that life doesn't always seem fair. Sometimes good people suffer, and bad people succeed. Life can be unpredictable and confusing, like smoke, hard to grab or understand. This raises a big question. If life isn't fair, is God still just and wise? That question is explored in the final book of wisdom, Job, the story of Job. Job's story begins in heaven, where God is meeting with angelic beings. Among them is one called the Satan. In Hebrew, this isn't a name but a title meaning the one who opposes. This figure questions Job's goodness. He suggests that Job only worships God because God blesses him. He says that if Job loses everything, he'll curse God. Surprisingly, God allows the Satan to test Job. In a short time, Job loses his children, wealth, and health. He suffers greatly, even though God himself said Job was innocent. At first, Job responds with faith. He praises God even after losing everything. But in chapter 3, Job opens up about how he truly feels. He wishes he had never been born. His pain is deep, and he doesn't understand why this is happening to him. Job and his friends. Job's friends come to comfort him, but instead of helping, they insist he must have done something wrong. They believe that since God is just, Job must deserve his suffering. For the next 34 chapters, Job and his friends argue in poetic language. The friends try to guess what sin Job committed, but Job keeps saying he's innocent, and he is. Throughout the book, Job has many emotions. Sometimes he trusts God. Other times he doubts him. At one point, he even accuses God of being unfair. Eventually, Job demands that God come and explain himself. God responds. And God does respond, but not in the way Job expected. God appears in a storm and speaks to Job. He doesn't explain Job's suffering or mention Satan. Instead, God takes Job on a journey through creation. He shows Job how complex and amazing the universe is. God asks Job if he can understand or run the world, even for one day. God points out that there are many things in the world that Job sees but doesn't understand, like the weather, wild animals, and the stars. God shows that he sees and knows everything, even the tiniest details in creation. Then, God talks about two giant, powerful creatures, beasts that could kill a person without a second thought. But God says they are not evil. They are part of his good creation. This shows that even dangerous and chaotic things have a place in God's world. God never explains why Job suffered, but he shows Job that the world is full of mystery and complexity. God runs the world with deep wisdom that humans can't fully understand. Job's response and restoration. After God speaks, Job is humbled. He never finds out exactly why he suffered, but he chooses to trust God's wisdom. He admits that God's ways are too wonderful for him to understand. In the end, God restores Job's health and gives him double what he had lost. This isn't shown as a reward for passing a test, just as Job's suffering wasn't a punishment. Instead, it seems to be a generous gift from God. What matters most is that Job has become a person who trusts God no matter what happens, good or bad. That's the real message of the book, the message of the wisdom books. These three books, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job, each give a different view of wisdom and life. Proverbs teaches that life is generally fair and orderly. Ecclesiastes reminds us that life can be unfair and confusing. Job shows us how to trust God's wisdom, even when we don't understand what's happening. Together, they help us live wisely and trust in God's bigger plan.